Hey folks, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, I am Julianne Hoore, the self-proclaimed bearded bombshell of the Scottish drag scene. I'm coming today with a brand new sewing tutorial. You can see I've got this rather hideous anorak here that I got from Boohoo on sale, and I am planning to re-envision this as one of the nurses from the Marc Jacobs Louis Vuitton collection from Spring 2008. So Marc Jacobs is a designer, and he was the creative director for Louis Vuitton between 1997 and 2014, I believe. And for the Spring 2008 collection, the first models to walk the runway were nurses dressed in see-through nurse costumes, outfits, that each had a hat that spelled out Louis Vuitton, and then they had these colourful dresses underneath. I'm thinking of going for a bit more of a sexy kind of nurse look with this, so it's going to be quite an interesting challenge. You can hear it rustling away. There's quite a lot of work to be done on this, so obviously it is a lot bigger than my mannequin. You can hear by the fabric, it sounds awful, but it's also like so oversized, and it's actually, I think, just 4 squares put together. There's no seams on this except for where the sleeves and the hood attach to the main body. The main body is just one big piece, which I think is just like a big square. And where the seams are, they're not actually sewn together, they're like glued or like heat pressed together. It's probably because the nature of this fabric, if you put a lot of holes in it, it's just perforating the fabric. You can't fix that. And if you pulled so hard, you would tear it up. The plan is to take it in to fit me, and then I'm thinking of doing like a really kind of like just an open back where you just like kind of like see underwear and meant to be like very sexy. That's a styling thing though after the fact. I have a couple of options of what I want to do here. I could just take it in, add some darts, and a side seam, nothing too crazy. Or I'm thinking is I split the top and bottom as 2 separate pieces, take in the top with darts, and then pleat the bottom, and then put them back together again, which I think is my more preferred method. And then for the collar, I'm going to take the hood off. I can either take the hood off and then re-sew it back on, or I want like a normal kind of like suit lapel collar kind of thing. What I'm thinking is just try and cut it in that shape. So the lapels, I kind of want them sitting like this. What I could do is I can cut in a little bit and then just cut out, I think. And then I can maybe add a piece at the back to kind of like be a stand. I'll put up a drawing of what I've kind of initially envisioned. But I don't think I'm going to do sleeves. I think I'm just going to have like a tank top, just like this. Actually, I didn't plan that. So yeah, I think I'm going to go for that option with the top and bottom being split and then put back together again. I think that's a good idea. Especially looking at the initial picture, you can see it like goes very fitted in, and then it does kind of like jump out. So I kind of do want to refer to the initial source material. So yeah, I'm going to remove these cords first. Take off the sleeves, and then we'll figure out exactly where we need to cut off. Alright. kind of get a picture already of how it's looking with a more fitted appearance to the body, which is exactly what I wanted. What I would say is just there, try and make sure it's as even as possible. So on this side I took out not as much as I did on this side, so the dart here wasn't appearing quite right. So I just double checked what was going on here, applied it to the other side, and then did the dart, and that gets a more even finish. Alright, so I want to make a couple of notes about working with fabric like this in particular, being plastic, thin material. Make sure you've got your longest stitch thread on your machine on, otherwise it's basically perforated your fabric into a straight nice line that can just tear in a moment's notice. So give yourself a bit more room and flexibility when you're putting this together, because any sudden jerk will ruin the fabric. And then also I would note, if you want to get rid of the creases, obviously mine came quite creased from Boohoo, be careful steaming or ironing this. So you can use a steamer, it'll hopefully get rid of some of the creases that I've got on here. Alternatively, you are using an iron, ideally have another piece of fabric over it, put a straight hot iron straight onto this kind of fabric, it's going to melt, it's going to ruin your iron, trust me, I've done it, it's not fun cleaning that up. And also if you share your iron with other people, they will not be too happy. So yeah, put another piece of fabric on, turn your iron down as well, it can still melt through the fabric, trust and believe, it will happen. So yeah, be cautious on those two particular things, otherwise you've just ruined all the artwork. So the side seams are, oh this line is awful. Side seams are done, so I just need to unpin the darts and reverse them to the opposite side, so I can sew them on the inside opposed to, of course, the outside, which is what we do not want. I'm just going to do that now. My stitch length isn't as long as I'd like it to be, so I'm considering doing a zigzag stitch in some parts, but I don't know. Just have to do it for now, and hopefully it doesn't fall apart, and if it does, well, fuck. Got the bodice sewn, a couple of small issues. I couldn't get the darts to really properly meet up, so I thought, you know what, I'll just have them as two separate darts, got a space in the middle, but there's like a little bit of bump in each of those, but maybe hopefully I can fill those out with like a bigger bra or something. But otherwise, pretty happy. It's a lot more fitted to the silhouette. There's a bit of space up on the sleeves as well, so I might take those in just a little bit as well. Alright, so this is the skirt, and I thought I would just demonstrate how much room there is on here. You can quite fit two of me in here, but you can maybe fit 1.5 drag me's in here. Yeah, there's loads and loads and loads of room to take in here, which is fantastic. It's exactly what we want. These pleats that we're going to add is going to add a lot of volume to the skirt where we want it. Preferably on the sides, because that's where my hip pads are. That's kind of where I get the biggest shape on my body, or at least the most extreme shapes on my body when it comes to corseting and padding. So yeah, very excited to see how this will look. Right, so I'm just going to pan down a little bit. So I've pinned the skirt a little bit. It is looking great. It's going to be a great idea of how clothing will look underneath it as well, and how the darts affect that as well. I've done the initial darts on the skirt. This is just temporary, just because I need to make sure the top and bottom are the same length, but it is giving me a great idea of how it's looking. And even with this bodysuit, I actually really kind of love it. Now with the skirt, I've cut that all the way up the back seam, just because it's going to be more of like an underwear look, and then that's going to be, I think, going to be like that. Then bare panties are kind of like on show without it having to be transparent. Easy access and all that. So that is the plan. I'm going to take this apart, repin just where I've initially got the darts, lay it out flat, and then readjust. So I'm just doing some last minute finishing touches here, sorting out the collar. I end up sewing in the where the armholes are, just securing those, and then also where I've got the cut up the back, I just sew that in as well. No need to hem it, as the hem's the same as what it was originally. But yeah, that's us all finished, and we're going to get into the final look. Hey folks, this is the final look for the Louis Vuitton Marc Jacobs Naughty Nurse. Generally quite happy with this, although I think my mannequin needs to be lowered the waistline a little bit further, just because the waist on this is still quite high. Up here, and of course in here, I mean I could my corset up just a little bit as well, which I think would help. And in the waist, the separate belt I did for this is quite loose, but for being last minute, I'm not complaining. My layout's a little bit different because I'm filming and taking photos and all sorts of stuff at the same time, and it's overlapping, and it's just quite annoying to have to change the backdrop all the time. So just leaving it as it is for the time being, because I cannot be bothered. It does help as well having the longer backdrop to have like the full length look, which I think is helpful to see, especially when doing a sewing project. So I'll definitely make sure to have that kind of more often, so you can kind of see the whole look that I've visualised and recreated. Definitely want to play with more ideas like this. If you have anything you want to see me create, make sure to put a comment down below and I'll check those out. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to press the like button down below, subscribe if you're already not, and ring the bell icon so you get notified every time I upload a brand new video. Want to check out more of me, make sure to do so at both Facebook and Instagram at Julianne Hoore, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye folks.